Right, Agatha All Along, episodes 8 and 9. Let's talk about it. There will be some spoilers for the entire show, but mostly for these last two episodes. I really liked this show overall. I think it's the best Marvel show they've had for quite some time. I've always found the Marvel TV series to be a little bit hit and miss. This one for me is a big hit. Now, it is something that is, I suppose, sort of catered towards me anyway. Like, I like stuff that has kind of a Halloween vibe to it, and this absolutely gave off the Halloween vibes, you know, the kind of the spooky dark fantasy vibes. And also I am fascinated by witches, both in terms of like fictional witchcraft and also like the history of witchcraft and paganism and stuff like that. So stuff about witches always kind of interests me, so that and the Halloween vibes, this was always going to be a show that I was going to dig, at least on some level. The one thing that I was kind of concerned about when I started watching this, because it's a sequel to WandaVision and it's the same showrunner as WandaVision, I was kind of worried that it was going to go a little bit too superhero-y at the end, which is, I realise is a silly thing to say because it is a Marvel show, but like the thing that about WandaVision for me was I really liked all the stuff they were doing with Westview and kind of the mystery element. But then, like, right at the end, they went, okay, here's your hero, here's your villain, they're going to have a big CGI superhero fight. That, to me, was the least interesting part of WandaVision, and it was a real shame, because I thought it had built up to something more interesting than that. So I'm quite glad that this show kind of isn't a superhero show. It didn't at all lean into the kind of the superhero cliches that much. There was a little bit of a CGI fight scene in episode 8, but for the most part, they kind of just you know, stuck to it being a dark fantasy show, and I prefer that. I thought that worked really, really well. The cast in this show throughout have been phenomenal, but especially Catherine Hahn as Agatha. Joe Locke as Billy is just fantastic. I really want him to return to the MCU specifically because I think he did a really good job. And also in this specific episode as well, episode 8 specifically, Aubrey Plaza was fantastic as Rio, who it turns out is the spirit of death. That was the other thing that I kind of liked. Like, she is a little bit kind of, you know, malicious. She does kind of, you know, taunt Agatha quite a bit and stuff like that. But I like that they didn't fully lean into Rio being like a full-on villain. Again, she does kind of toy with Agatha a little bit in their sort of, it's not even really a fight scene, but in their kind of confrontation scene. But I like that they kind of kept her mostly sort of neutral. You know, she is just the spirit of death. I like that. One of my favourite portrayals of death is this one, Death from the Sandman series. And what I like about Death in Sandman is that she's kind of presented as being neutral. You know, she's neither good nor evil. She is simply, you know, she's simply a part of nature. Death is just a part of life. Death is a part of the circle of life. And I like that they kind of did that with Rio in this show, albeit a little bit more aggressively. Like I say, there is a little bit of like cackling villain, but they don't kind of fully lean into that, and I like that. And likewise, they don't really give Agatha like a full redemption arc. Like, she does some nice things and there are bits that make her more sympathetic, but I don't think they don't kind of, you know, fully go, she's a hero now, you know. There's still a lot of like evil stuff and a lot of like villainous traits to her, and I liked that. I liked that they didn't go, this is the hero, this is the villain, now they fight, you know. I'm glad they kind of avoided that. That really worked for me. Something else I really liked is the structure of these last two episodes. Like, we got episodes 8 and 9 together, like dropping together on the same day. And I really liked that because, to me, episode 8 is the one that felt like the series finale. Like, that's where you have all the big kind of climactic confrontation scene, the big kind of CGI action scene. That's where all that takes place. That felt like a series finale, right? And everything kind of felt like it had wrapped up quite nicely. There were a few questions left to answer, but everything felt like it wrapped up quite nicely. Then it dropped that last minute twist of, you know, Billy is the one who's created the Witch's Road, you know, to lead into, and that was like the twist to lead into episode 9. Really liked that. And I like that then episode 9 felt basically like an epilogue. Like, it was like, half of it was like a villain origin story for Agatha, and then the other half was an epilogue to the series with Agatha and Billy, and kind of setting up a potential sequel series down the line. I liked that a lot. I thought that was a clever approach. The one thing I will say about the kind of the origin story elements in episode 9 is I feel like they were trying to set Agatha up to be more sympathetic, you know, because of all the stuff that happened with Nicholas, which I think is well done and effectively done, and I like that the Ballad of the Witch's Road kind of starts as a song that those two sing. I liked that. That was a nice touch. For me, this is my only real kind of criticism of the show, and I don't even know if this is what they were even going for, but if they were in fact trying to make Agatha like a sympathetic character, to me, I can't sympathise with her still. To me, she still feels very much like a villain. And again, I feel bad for her because of the stuff that happens with Nicholas, and I think that's all very well done. But for me, it's the thing of how she and Nicholas were like killing the witches before his death. Like, if say it had been like she was a good witch and then he died and she sort of, you know, was taking out her anger on the other witches because she couldn't process her emotions, that would still be like a villainous thing. I still wouldn't have like total sympathy for her, but I think I would have found her slightly more sympathetic. But it's the fact that they were, you know, they were already doing the, you know, taking the powers from other witches and killing other witches, that makes it difficult for me personally to sympathise with her. I realise other people will have a different interpretation of that. For me, I've never been able to fully kind of sympathise with Agatha as a protagonist. She is a very fun villain and she has some heroic moments, but to me, I feel like she still feels very much like a villain to me. I still can't fully sympathise with her. That aside, that's really my only one sort of... It's not even really a complaint, because I don't even know if they're really trying to make her completely sympathetic. But that's really my one kind of note, would be, if they were trying to make her more sympathetic, I think they could have done that slightly better. Other than that, really, really liked the show. I like that they set everything up at the end to, you know, have a potential follow-up series, either Agatha All Along Season 2, or just another series that's a sequel to this, in the same way that this was a sequel to WandaVision. I think if they do release another series or a sequel series to this, it should be focused mostly on Billy. Have Agatha kind of return to being a supporting character like how she was in WandaVision. But yeah, what I like is that they did answer a lot of questions, but they left just enough kind of open for another series, for a follow-up series, so we can see where the characters go from there. I really liked the show overall. Like I say, I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked a lot of the twists and turns. And yeah, without sort of going into much more kind of detail, because I'm mostly just trying to focus on those last 2 episodes, this was, I think, one of the best shows the MCU has ever done. Like, it's up there for me with like Loki as like peak MCU TV. And some people might argue that's not a very high bar to clear, but nevertheless, I had a lot of fun with Agatha All Along, and I hope we do get some kind of follow-up, whether that's in Agatha All Along Season 2, or, you know, The Adventures of Billy Maximoff. But regardless, let me know what you think of this show. Like I say, I really enjoyed it, but let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about this. That's all I've got for you. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.